Behold, the album, the spiritual successor to the symphonies of old. Join us on this musical odyssey as we transcend the boundaries of time and space and genre and attempt the impossible, choosing only 10 to bring with us to a desert island. What gems may be revealed? What relics will be unearthed? What stone-cold classics will be left behind? This is the Yada Yada Episode 8 LP. All right, we're back. This is Yada Yada Episode 8.
I am fired up after that wonderful rendition.
You said you weren't going to do a weird voice, but then
That's just my normal speaking voice.
That's the
I've never
normal.
heard you talk like that in my life.
Yeah, I'm excited about this episode. It
That
gets
was
me
great.
going.
Yeah.
Stone Cold Now I feel some pressure because I don't know if I have any Stone Cold classics on my list.
It's okay.
Ooh.
Those can be left behind.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So
Really
it's,
behind,
it's
so
all
it
it's
doesn't
all
matter.
good.
It's your desert island, and we're just stranded on it. So
Right.
Um,
We're happy to be back on the desert island, and we're not alone this time, as y'all can see. It's my honor to introduce our special guest, the second special guest we've ever had on the Yada Yada podcast. He is he's a musician. He's a good friend to both of us. He's my brother's brother-in-law, and if there's not a word for that, there should be.
Yeah.
And he's a man that's a bit of a musical omnivore, so which is much needed for this episode. So it's his debut on Yada Yada. So let's give a warm welcome to Mr. Avery Caddell. How you doing, sir?
Thanks for having me on. I'm glad to be on.
Welcome.
It's fun. I've never been on a podcast before, so I'm
Well,
unseasoned.
this is definitely a professional podcast.
Yeah, it
So
is.
if you're not ready for that, then I don't know what to tell you, because we take it pretty serious around here. The old Yada Yada podcast.
You got a
we're
backdrop?
Yeah, I've added to it as well. For those of you that are watching, I've added a little basketball rim right here up on top of my bookshelf. And if you can see right here, I've got a little guitar for this episode.
Thematic. It's good.
It's very dusty. The guitar is very dusty. It's been in a case for a while because I don't play it. But it is a cool little backdrop and a cool little decoration. So I had to add it to the background for episode 8, where we are discussing, Books and Avery, I should say, are discussing their top 10 albums that they would take with them to a desert island. Because, as you guys have probably found out by now, if you didn't know already, I'm not a very diverse person. I like what I like, and what I like is country music, and I can't bring 10 albums of country music to a desert island and talk about it for an hour and a half. So we brought on a professional musician in Avery Caddell, who is quite literally a professional musician. He is working on recording his own music. Yes. And
I am doing that. Yeah, I'm doing a little bit of that.
yeah, and playing some live shows, I've heard.
Shows is a stretch. I'm
Playing some live gigs.
Gigs. There you go. That's
There
a
you
better
go.
word for it.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad we waited, because we were going to do this episode earlier, but I'm so glad we waited because I was actually able to see a live gig from Avery, and it was a good time. I was front
it was
row.
fun.
It was great. Yeah.
Just
All,
headbanging and rocking
yeah.
the whole time.
Lots of
Yeah.
that. Lots of that.
Yeah.
Played some Sturgill Simpson. That's the
There you
closest
go.
headbanging
Yeah.
that we had. So but
Nice.
it was fun. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Good.
I already told Books this, but I'll tell you again. In the eyes of the IRS, I am considered to be a professional musician, because if you make like
Look at
more
that.
than like $600 in a year, it's taxable.
Yeah, you better be paying it back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you're a professional musician. So
Yeah.
so
Well, congratulations
law.
for
Thanks.
making
Yeah.
it into
Thank
the
you.
into the
Yeah.
IRS.
I broke through.
Avery,
Yeah.
Avery, do y'all have a band name, or is it just Avery Caddell?
Just Avery and HB. We sing together. usually.
Avery and HB. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So we don't have a name. We tried a couple and we were like that we thought would be funny, but we haven't really found the one that's stuck yet. And then I was gonna make merch, and that was last year. I never made it, and I lost all the shirts that I was gonna screen print the merch onto. So it's still a work in progress. So
Yeah.
anyways.
Well, for those of you in the chat, come up with a name.
There you
This
go.
is Avery Caddell and HB Caddell. Give us a name in the chat for a band name. And when you do have some merch, we'll be glad to sponsor you on this very
Perfect.
popular podcast heard by
I can
tens
write
of
on
people.
intro.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes,
you can
absolutely.
expect your next gig to be at least 10 people fuller after this
Yeah.
episode.
Because of us.
That would triple
Yeah.
our current audience.
Yeah, you could write us a little theme music, a little theme song to get us going
Yeah.
every time.
I watched
That would be something for sure.
Have you ever watched Good Mythical Morning, Red Link on YouTube?
I've seen a couple of
their
their episodes. Yeah, pretty
Well,
funny.
this is like they're hilarious, but they did a deep dive. There was a guy who wrote Pamplemousse was the name of this band. They're like French, and they did like an hour-long episode, and it was just him describing how he made this 20-second theme song for their podcast. So, anyways, I wouldn't be doing that, but
We would have to have you back on for another hour and a half episode to
where I
explain
talked about the intro.
where you talk about the
Definitely.
intro,
Yes.
the background. All right, well, let's kind of get started. We're gonna keep going with the same format that we've been doing for the past Desert Island episodes. I'm gonna kind of mediate for you listeners out there. I'm gonna kind of mediate and be the kind of the middleman, I guess, and let the professionals, the professional in books, talk about
Exactly.
their taste in music, because it's probably a lot better than my taste. So we're just going to go ahead and get started. Books, I'll let you get started first.
Yeah, I was gonna say real quick before we get started. Do
Yeah.
y'all? How often do y'all actually listen to a full album all the way through? Are y'all more like singles, or do you actually sit and listen to a full record all the way through pretty often?
Never.
Ty, you can answer that as well. Never.
Never have.
There it is.
Never,
I
in your life.
truly. Here's what I would do when an album comes out of a person that I like. I will download that whole album, maybe listen to it once, and then pick a couple songs that I like from it and go from there. But I don't have full albums on my device that I listen to music with.
No,
Is that normal?
probably now. I bet.
Okay.
I was
bet
about to
it's
say,
normal now.
I
Yeah.
think it's not that common for someone to sit and listen to a full
Okay.
full
Well,
album.
that makes me feel
Yeah.
better.
Or at least not for me. Like I didn't start listening to full albums until like the last 4 or 5 years of my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like our generation is more of like
Well,
hit
it's
singles
easier
and stuff.
to.
Yeah,
You know, like
of course.
you don't have to put the whole record onto the record player and listen to the songs you don't want to listen to. You can just skip it or not download it, and it'd be okay.
And also, are either of y'all vinyl record collectors? Do either of y'all have a collection going on?
I do not. My parents have one. I thought I was going to get into it, and then I was like, so expensive, and I'm never going to listen to it. It's like,
Right.
like the
It
worst
is-
hobby
it is
for me to get
expensive.
into. So
Yeah, I do have a short like I have about 10 records that I've built up over about 3 years. It is an expensive hobby, but I usually get them for like that's all I ask for, like birthday presents and stuff, is some vinyl records. But other than that,
Nice. Yeah.
Well, we
Are your
can get
vinyls-
started.
are they only special albums?
They
like-
are only special albums. Like there are a few that I own that will be on this list. So
Okay.
Little bias right there.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
My desert island.
Yeah, true. My fault. My bad. Well, as you probably can't see unless you're watching, but I have it's kind of hard to see with my mic, but I have my Music City t-shirt on from one Nashville, Tennessee, where I visited this past spring break. It's not a music T-shirt though. It's an SEC basketball tournament T-shirt. But it was in Nashville, and so I wasn't there for musical reasons. But it was a pretty cool trip. If you've never been to Nashville, I would highly recommend it. Another take into my taste and love for country music, right there. So, all right, well, let's get started. Okay, books, start us off with maybe some honorable mentions on your list of music.
Right. So my so first of all, my thought process when I was creating this list, the first thing I did was I sat down and I made a list based on just pure instinct. So I just sat down, I did my 10 favorite albums that I absolutely love. And then, so I kind of had that as like the bare bones of this list, because it's different when you're ranking your 10 favorite albums versus the 10 that you'd take to a desert island. You know what I mean? Same thing with our movies. We tried to branch out a little bit and kind of fulfill different genres. And so, first of all, I made my instinct list, and then I thought about personal connection. So as I kind of whittled my list down and added some more things to it, I thought about what those albums how they connect to me personally, and then I thought about cohesiveness as a full album. So some records work great. Like I love 5 songs on the record, and so it should be one of my favorite albums, right? Based on that, if there's like 10 songs on it, but maybe they don't work as a full album. You know what I mean? Maybe just as maybe the sound doesn't go together well from song to song. I like albums that are very cohesive. And so y'all will kind of get a glimpse of that later on when I go through my list. And then also, of course, I tried to include as much variety as I could, although I probably failed doing that, but I tried to include as much variety as I could. So a few honorable mentions. I have way too many to talk in depth about, but I will go through them rapid fire. A quick shout out to the hip hop / rap genre. I didn't have any hip hop or rap on my 10, but it is a genre that I go back to for working out. I feel like it's kind of goes like hand in hand with basketball. You know, they're kind of like PB&J's, basketball and hip hop. So I do listen to hip hop, but they didn't make my top 10. But some albums that I did consider were The Eminem Show by Eminem, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy by Kanye West, and Swimming by Mac Miller. So yeah, those are 3 hip hop albums that didn't make my list. And then the rest of them I'll just rapid fire. Some Nights by Fun, Yourself or Someone Like You by Matchbox 20, Hunky Dory and Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust by and the Spiders from Mars by David Bowie, Babel, I don't know how to pronounce it, by Mumford & Sons, the Lumineers self-titled album, Golden State by Logan Ledger, Western Swing Waltzes, Coulter Wall, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, Elton John, The Ballad of Duda Juanita by Sturgill Simpson, Cowboyography by Ian Tyson, which breaks my heart because I do love that album. I just think I haven't sat on it long enough for it to be in my top 10, but it could be one day. Bringing It All Back Home by Bob Dylan. Nielsen Schmielsen, which is a gem that I found not too long ago, but it's a great album. It's by Harry Nielsen. Y'all should give that a check. If you've probably heard the song Coconut before. You put the lime in the coconut.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So that's on that album. It's such a fun album. The first song on that album is usually what I play on my way to work, just because it's funny and it gets me going. And then some honorable. My last honorable mention is actually an album that I own, and when I made my Instinct list, it was probably in my top 5, but it's somehow it made its way out of there, and I'll explain it later. But that album is Ram by Paul and Linda McCartney. It's just Paul McCartney and his wife, and they made a little indie pop record, and some people claim that it's like the first indie pop record of all time, you know, whatever that means. But it's such a great album. It feels so homemade. It breaks my heart that it's not on this list, but I'll explain why it's not on this list later. So those are my honorable mentions.
For those of you that are in awe of how quickly he read those off, because I know I am, I will get the list of songs and albums from both of these both of these guys, and I'll post them in the description so you don't have to pause and write them down or something like that. So, Avery, go ahead.
Am I just giving honorable mentions?
Yeah, or your thoughts into, how'd you come up with them, that kind of stuff.
I didn't know what y'all's criteria was for Desert Island.
There's no criteria.
There's no. It's yada yada, baby.
I didn't know. So I was kind of going off. I also didn't know. Is it just me? Am I having a party? Like, did a plane crash and I happen to have these 10 items with me?
Hey, that's your imagination.
Yeah, you've already thought way more about this than either one of us have.
I'll say this. I know for a fact that I would love to go to Books' Desert Island because of all the video games, TV shows, and movies that he's bringing. So
it's the best island ever.
If you're throwing a party and you're playing some good music, I might show up. I might end up over there.
Get on the boat.
Yeah.
Whenever we crash the boat onto the island, you'll be on it.
There we go.
And then I realized I was also thinking, and this isn't really Desert Island. This would be like Zombie Apocalypse, because I was thinking like if I needed to preserve 10 albums for represent to society, because I don't want people to forget. Good. I don't want people to forget about Paul McCartney and the Beatles.
Right,
it's pretty good.
But then I was like, it's just me on this island, probably. That's what I ultimately thought.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Zombie Apocalypse. I like that thought. I like that thought process. What's the ones you would preserve for society? Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, well, some of that stuff is just culture. It's like the new Roman Empire. You got to like preserve whatever the Colosseum is of albums. So
right.
So, but some of the albums on your cutting room floor, I think, are in my top 10 books. So our islands can just swap if we get to.
There we go. Hey, that's
there
awesome.
You go.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah.
No. But anyways, that's kind of what I was thinking about with mine. So.
Yeah. Well, when we kind of do this, if y'all have 2 of the same, we kind of go like Books' 10 is your 8. When he says his 10, you can say, "Yep, I had that one in my top 10, and it was number 8," and then you can talk about it.
Gotcha.
That's kind of what we did with the NBA players, and it seemed to work all right. So,
perfect.
All right, who wants to start? Number 10?
I can kick us off. Yeah.
Yeah, kick us off with number 10.
All right, number 10 is by far the biggest outlier on my list. It does not go whatsoever with the rest of the music I have on here, and y'all will understand why when I read the rest of my list. But for my number 10, I needed an album on my island. If I'm just going to be by myself, just a sad sack on an island, I need an album that's going to remind me of my wife. All right. So shout out to my wife. I had to be sweet with this pick.
Kiss up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well,
what'd you do wrong? What are you making
she's
up for? She's
not too happy with the nurse's husband's episode, so I gotta change up a little bit,
They just think these nurses are just sweet gals. Let me tell you, that is not the case.
The whole story.
Right, yeah. Exactly. No. All right, but and this is actually so. Yes, my wife, of course, we have different tastes in music, but this is one that an album that she introduced to me, and I've grown to really enjoy it. It like I said, doesn't fit with the rest of my list, but I do really enjoy this album, and that album for my number 10 is "Born to Die," the Paradise Edition by Lana Del Rey.
Okay.
And yeah, and sorry for all the female artists out there. This is actually the only female artist I have on my list is Lana Del Rey. But
don't cancel us because Books is a sexist. Don't cancel us.
Yeah, whatever. All right, but yeah, this is "Born to Die" by it's specifically the Paradise Edition because it's got like a disc 2 that has a bunch of great songs on it as well. But this is like if you distilled like vintage Hollywood into one album, this is the album that it would be, I think. It's like it's kind of glammy. It's like glam pop is how I would describe it. It's nostalgic, for old Hollywood, but it's also not stuck in the past. It's got a very modern sound. despite all that kind of romanticism for the past. And not only that, but it's a pretty sexy album. All right, I have to say, that I'll stop there on that comment. But it's pretty sexy, and it's also really influential. I think, anyways. Like I don't think. I think Lana kind of changed the aesthetic of what pop would be going forward after her, at least for the female pop artists. Kind of the sound, the pacing, the attitude. I don't think you have like people like Billie Eilish or Lorde or Halsey or really any of those people that are kind of the indie pop like outcast female pop singers type of people, and even a little bit of like Taylor Swift influence. Like I think she influenced a little bit of what Taylor Swift would become later, as well. So I think she kind of made the blueprint for kind of the moody pop stuff. And this is an album that I've grown to really love. It's got a lot of hits on it. Probably all my favorite Lana songs are on here. And I don't like a whole lot of her stuff afterwards for whatever reason, but I do come back to this album a lot. Ultraviolence is one that I like, but other than that, I do come back to Born to Die, specifically the Paradise Edition. So that's my number 10.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Paradise Edition on Apple Music, and it looks like there's 15 songs on disc 1, and I got 9 songs on disc 2, and it came out January 1st. 2012, so it was a New Year's special, I guess, back in 2012. So Lana Del Rey, Born to Die, Paradise Edition. All right.
Yes.
Smart to get A side, B side, so you get more songs.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. There's quite a few songs on there.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, Avery, what do you got at number 10?
That's interesting because we were the same page. My number 10 was Lorde Melodrama.
Oh,
there you go.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so we were on the same vein. I think you're right. I think Lana Del Rey did influence a lot of all that stuff. But I was thinking more, like I didn't listen to a lot of Lana, but I do like Lorde a lot. So her Melodrama album is pretty fire. And it's probably the most pop album that I have on my list. I trend more indie folk, so I was kind of like, I need something that's going to have some more upbeat. If I've got a good subwoofer on my desert island, I need something that has a little bit more bass.
Hey, once again, it's your island. You bring
man.
whatever you want, man.
This island's awesome. So
Yeah.
so that's
Melodrama. Yeah, by Lorde, you say?
yeah, it's a good album. It's got a lot of songs on there that y'all have all heard, even if you don't listen to her. Green Light's probably her most popular one off of that.
Okay.
Is that the one with tennis court? Is that on there? Is that a
Tennis
different
Court's on the it's controversial because probably her biggest song isn't on this album because that's Pure Heroin. Pure Heroin has Tennis Court, it has Royals,
I've heard Pure Heroin. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard Royals. I know that one.
Yeah.
Y'all have all heard Royals, yeah. So that's a good album, but I didn't actually get into her until college, and this was this album came out when I was a senior in high school. So I was this was the album I got into her on. So I ended up liking it the more. So, but yeah,
there you go.
It's good stuff. I saw her in concert. So
that always helps for me. If you see somebody in person, I think you become a fan of them more afterwards.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And songs that you hated that they made. Once you've seen them in concert, you suddenly love the song. So
yeah, I completely agree with that. Yeah.
And when I'm on the island, I can sit there and remember I was in a concert. And so
you can have some nostalgia and
that's right.
And wish you were back home a little bit.
Wish I was back in the air conditioned arena.
Yeah. Hey, this might be a cool breezy island. It might not be a humid island.
That's true.
Yeah,
true.
I'm thinking tropical,
Yeah.
I mean, because desert island just kind of means abandoned island is what I've been thinking of. Not necessarily like we're on a desert. That's an island.
On an island. Okay.
Yeah. So I was thinking more like deserted,
Deserted island. Totally different.
Once again, not a whole lot of thought. Yeah. Once again, not a whole lot of thought has gone into it.
All
desert themed albums.
They were all desert themed. I have to go back. Yeah. Horse with No Name. They were all on there. Yes.
All right, number 9.
Okay. My number 9 is what I think of as the perfect concept album. And so I think what I mean by concept album is an album that kind of and Ty, you can Google this while I'm talking just to make sure I'm
Well,
correct.
you're starting to let me just stop you right there because you're starting to figure out. I'm going to ask you a question because you're leading into, and what I mean by that is, so I appreciate you go ahead and reading my mind, but yes, I will Google whatever you're about to say.
Okay, cool. Well, as far as a concept album goes, what I think of for a concept album, anyways, is an album that kind of it has a theme or some kind of story that's told, and that kind of goes all the way through the album. So whether like I said, whether that's a specific story with characters that repeat throughout the album, or if that's just kind of a theme that the author hits on over and over and over. And so, but what I think of as for my number nine, the perfect concept album for me is "Red-Headed Stranger" by Willie Nelson.
Ooh.
I think Willie is on my Mount
Don't touch
Rushmore.
my Willie.
I think Willie is on my Mount Rushmore of country artists. I think he's probably the greatest country poet. You could say that's a popular country artist. And Redheaded Stranger, I think is kind of his magnum opus. I think it's his best album. It's literally most of the songs on here are just Willie and his guitar. Trigger, it's got a name. It's Trigger. But most of these songs are just Willie and his guitar, and he's singing. He's singing slow. But that it for whatever reason, as slow as a lot of these songs are, it carries me through the whole album, kind of like riding a wave. You know what I mean? The themes that he keeps touching on, the story that is telling, which is really kind of violent. It's about a preacher that, from what I can tell, I haven't just sat down and dissected this album, like from research, but from the many times that I've listened to it over and over and over. I think he's talking about a preacher who catches his wife cheating on him in some way, and he kills her, and he kills his wife's lover, and it kind of sends him down a dark path. And that's the first song is "Time of the Preacher." And the year of '01 is when the setting is. I don't know if that's 1801 or 1901, but I'm sure someone could do the research and tell me. But it goes into the Blue Rock medley, which is great, and then it goes. There's a few like old Christian hymns that he throws in here as well. "Just as I Am" is on this album, which is, if you've ever been to church in Texas, I'm sure you've heard "Just as I Am" or just about anywhere in the South. But there's so many great songs I love on this album. "Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain" is such a sad song, but it breaks your heart to hear Willie sing it, but it breaks it in a good way. You know what I mean? It breaks it in a way that I want to as soon as the song's over, I want to click repeat. Let's see, "Redheaded Stranger," probably my favorite song on the album, title track. It's just one of those great country western songs. I don't know if I would classify this album as outlaw country, but I think it's Willie's best album, and I could listen to it all day. So for my number nine, I have "Redheaded Stranger" by Willie Nelson.
Yeah, shout out to Willie. Redheaded Stranger, it's got 15 songs on it. May 1st, 1975. So for all you old people all you wise people out there that are listening, you probably know exactly what Books is talking about with Willie Nelson and the Red-Headed Stranger. This is actually one I've heard of, so I'm proud of myself. But it is a country album, so it doesn't surprise me a whole lot. But yeah, the concept album, according to ChatGPT, you were right on. Each individual song isn't independent of the other songs. They're all kind of dependent on each other. They all kind of tell a central theme, a central idea behind the whole album. One song kind of leads to another song, which kind of leads to another song. So you were kind of right on cue there. So "Red-Headed Stranger" coming in at number 9 for Books.
I'm ashamed I didn't know that Willie Nelson album. So
Oh, look
Oh
at
man.
me.
man,
I'm fake.
Yeah.
It's such a great
That's-
album, and this is why we do these. This is really why we do these ranking lists. It's not just so we can blab about our favorite stuff. It's so we can get some good recommendations from each other and then from you guys in the chat. So make sure you're leaving comments. Let us know your top 10 lists. I'm excited to hear the rest of Avery's, and I'm excited to hear all of y'all's too. And then whenever Ty decides to make his, eventually I'll hear his as well.
I'm working
excited
on
for
my
that.
best George Strait albums right now.
It's just 10 albums
There you
from
go.
George Strait.
Yeah. He's got a few of them, so
Yeah.
I might throw some Johnny Cash in there a little
There
bit.
you go. There you go.
There you go.
Okay, my number 9. I went strategic here. So this is by no means in my top 100 albums, but it's a Weezer album, the Teal album by Weezer. It's a cover album.
Okay.
So they do cover songs from a ton of different artists. So you end up with like big songs from a lot of different artists all in one album, but they just won't be sung by the original person. But I'll just remember, I'll come back from the desert island thinking Weezer wrote all these. But
Right.
Okay.
I'll know
That's a
all
good
the
hack,
songs on the
though.
radio.
That's
is-
a good
that
hack.
was my-
yeah.
That's
I've already forgotten a lot of the best songs that were on it. But you've got Africa, Everybody Wants to Rule the World, Sweet Dreams Are Made of This, Take on Me, Happy Together, Paranoid, Mr. Blue Sky, No Scrubs, Billie Jean, and Stand By Me. So you got some Michael Jackson on there. You got some, what else was on there?
Toto.
All timers. Toto, yeah.
Electric Light Orchestra. So you got some classics on there, and they're just sung in a punk rock style. But they're pretty faithful to the original. Like that whole album is all. They're not like doing a lot of weird, different stuff with it. It's kind of just their lead singer singing the song the way it was originally written. So I was just thinking this would be a way for me to listen to some songs that would be stuck in my head that otherwise I'd never get to listen to.
That's a pretty good little
it's-
loophole right there.
That's smart.
to-
Yeah.
Because
to
the
get a
only rule
bunch of-
books you texted me the rule. I can't remember what you'd said. You'd said no
The only thing I
What?
said was no greatest hits albums.
no greatest hits.
That's
Yes.
the only one that
Yeah.
I left out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Just
said
no
no greatest
greatest
hits
hits.
albums. So I was like,
Yeah.
all right, well, this is-
Specifically studio curated greatest hits. All right.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
I had a Beatles album. I was looking through all my. I just opened Spotify and I was just scrolling through, and I have a Beatles album that's like 200 songs long, and it's a studio curated like Beatles. I was like, there's no way this is ever a record. Like so.
Yeah, right.
right.
Yeah.
Took them a while if it was.
Yeah, Weezer.
Weezer.
Teal album.
Okay. Yeah.
The Teal
I'm
album.
kind of looking at it right here. It looks like they did "I'm a Believer" for Shrek Forever After.
Oh yeah.
They were maybe part of that. Obviously Toto, or Africa by Toto, that's a big one. And
The
then
songs
like you
that
said,
they're famous for, like "Island in the Sun," "Say It Ain't So," or a couple of the Sweater Song, "Beverly Hills," or some of their like big ones that people
Okay.
know. But so that's the
I
other
love
weird
Weezer.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
Weezer's great, and I've got a Weezer album that won't have any Weezer songs on it. So
yeah,
That
There you
is
go.
funny.
but,
Yeah.
hey, I'm on a desert island. Things are
It's-
desperate. So
it's all up to you. It's your island. All right, there you go. Weezer, the Teal album coming in at number 9 for Avery. What do we got for number 8?
All right. So for my number 8, I have a shining example of a subgenre of pop that I've become very very familiar with, and it's called Baroque pop. And I will Google this, so I don't. Or Ty, you can Google it and tell me exactly what it means. Because when I think of Baroque pop, I think of very like a very ornate sounding album. It kind of mixes like elements of like classical strings and classical music with the pop sound. And from what I can tell, it kind of got big in the '60s for like a second. And I don't know if people are still doing it. But it's a genre that in the late '60s I kind of fell in love with that time period for Baroque pop. So yeah. And
What-
this album Yeah, go ahead, Ty. Sorry.
So I searched what is Baroque pop, and it just says it's not a formally recognized genre, which I'm assuming that's what you meant by subgenre. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
It is. It's also the title of a Singaporean artist. It looks like Yao, as in Ming.
Did you put Baroque, like you break your leg, or
I did.
Baroque?
Baroke.
That is my bad. It is Baroque. And I here. Let's see. I have it here.
That is 100% your fault that I typed that in.
Baroque.
There's no way I
that's
should have known that.
That's my bad, everybody. But Baroque pop is okay. I got it. A fusion genre that combines rock music with particular elements of classical music. So kind of what I said. Emerged in the mid 1960s as artists pursued a majestic orchestral sound, which is the reason I think it's named after Baroque pop is because there was a Baroque era of classical music. So that's kind of cool. But this album that I'm talking about, my number 8 is Odyssey and Oracle by the Zombies. So when I went to Avery's concert this past weekend, he did play
his gig.
his gig. When I went
Don't
to his
sell
gig,
yourself short, Avery.
yeah, come on, man. But he did play a zombie song, and I was surprised, and I was glad to hear it because they don't get enough love, I don't think. No. They're one of the great. They only came out with like 2 albums, I think, in the late '60s. So that's probably why they don't get enough love. But the one album, their second album, I believe, Odyssey and Oracle, is one of my favorites of all time. As you can tell, it's my number 8 that I take with me to a desert island. Each one of these songs is so cool. It's so it blends like the Baroque pop explanation I was talking about earlier. It blends elements of classical music with a modern at the time, a '60s pop sound. It's classified as a rock album, so if you want to say it's a rock album, that's fine. Rock from the '60s kind of sounds like pop, in my opinion, but we can go back and forth on that for a while. Beechwood Park is such a cool album. Such a cool song. Brief Candles, such a cool song. Butcher's Tale is really creepy. It's maybe my favorite or one of the best songs about war, about going to war. And so I suggest y'all check that out. I think the subtitle of Butcher's Tale is actually Western Front 1914. So it's talking about World War One, I believe. And then it ends with one of the most famous songs from the 1960s, in my opinion, is the Time of the Season. Is the time? Yeah, if y'all have ever heard that song. But it's a great album. Every single and Time of the Season might be one of my least favorite songs on the album, and it's by far the most famous song they ever did. And so that just speaks, I think, to the strength of this album. It's great. Each song is a little different, but it does kind of like the Willie Nelson album. It kind of has that element of each song is a little bit dependent on each other, and it carries through the whole album. I love it a lot. So at my number 8, I have Odyssey and Oracle. And by the way, if you try to look this up, you could just type in the Zombies and look at their albums. But if you try to look it up by the album title, Odyssey is spelled wrong. I don't know if that's on purpose or if that's just the way they accidentally did it and thought, let's just leave it. But Odyssey is spelled Odessey, not Odyssey.
I was just trying to look it up on Spotify and I couldn't find it for a second.
Yep. So Odessey and Oracle by the Zombies. So it's a great album. Check it out.
So I have heard Time of the Season. Have no idea who Odyssey and Oracle are or the Zombies. But I have heard that song. And so now I can kind of put 2 and 2 together because of that. This album came out April 19th, 1968. It has 12 songs on it. And like you said, the last song is that Time of the Season song right there. So
also shout out to the cover art for this album because just the coolest. It's so psychedelic. The album itself is not psychedelic at all, but if you look at this, you'd think you're about to listen to the most trippy album you've ever heard in your life. But it's not. But it's cool cover art.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was going to bring up. Was this looks like an album from the '60s because of the cover art. So, all right, Odyssey and Oracle by the Zombies coming in at number 8 for books.
Books. I had a professor in college I took a comic book class.
That's
and
awesome.
This professor was a pretty interesting guy. His name was Rob Weiner. And
That's interesting right there.
he had pet prairie dogs that he kept in his house. He had like 17 pet prairie dogs, and he had tunnels around his house that and he would like show us videos of his prairie dogs. But he was a groupie for the Zombies.
No way. That is
Traveled with
crazy.
them. Yeah. So he was like
Wow.
a huge Zombies fan.
That's
my
awesome.
Zombies anecdote.
Yeah,
Well,
fun fact.
shout out to Professor Wiener because
Shout out to
Professor
Texas
Wiener.
Tech and Professor Wiener.
Texas Tech, that's right. Yeah.
Wreck
He was
'em.
a cool dude. Yeah, I took 3 classes with him. That's why I remember that so well.
Yeah.
Anyways, Rob Weiner. Also, I was going to tell you, Lana Del Rey is classified by AI Overview as Baroque pop.
Is she really? Okay, well that makes sense why I love
Yeah.
Born to Die so much, I guess.
Would like Electric Light Orchestra or like Chicago kind of fall in that same
I think so.
vein?
Because
Okay.
I think anybody that's weaving together a lot of strings in
Okay.
their pop music, I think
Yeah.
that's
Okay. I never heard of that
Baroque.
genre, but I was like, when you were describing it, I was like, that's like all that music from that time period. That's kind of cool.
Right, yeah.
Okay, my number 7 is. See, I don't have mine in
8.
order.
Number 8.
Sorry, number 8.
Yep.
We've done 2.
Don't skip any.
Yeah, I can't afford to skip any. It's all right.
I'm
I already
having
have
fun
trouble.
learning.
I'm
We
editing
got
as
good.
I
2
go.
hours, Avery, so no worries.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm editing as I go. Like, I didn't have mine ranked, but now I feel like it would be wrong if I didn't go in reverse order of like where I was ranking the album. So I'm kind of
Nope.
editing them as I go. Okay.
All good.
My next one is a movie soundtrack, but it's like it's the movie soundtrack that I listen to studying. So you end up with dialogue in it. Everyone like it's the La La Land soundtrack, but there's 2 La La Land
Nice.
soundtracks. So La La Land's my favorite movie. It's a good movie, but there's 2 soundtracks. There's an original motion picture score, and the score has all of the songs in it, but then it also has like snippets of dialogue, and every time there's like a bit of like musical like interlude in between scenes, they've included all those in there as well. It's the whole music from the movie. So you end up with like an hour and a half long album. So it's longer. I can feel like I'm watching a movie because
That's awesome.
I've watched the movie a bunch, so I'll know it. And it's probably closest to like a concept album that I would have, like what you were talking about earlier. So it's good. Have y'all both seen La La Land?
I love City of Stars. Is that a song on there?
Yep, that is
Okay.
on there. Yep.
Love that song. Yeah.
So good. Yep.
So you would take, you're saying the version with the dialogue.
Yes.
that's the one you want?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Because there's another version of the album that's just like their most popular songs from like the actual studio recording songs. But I want the whole thing. I want the dialogue. I want the little random 20-second songs because I'm on an island. Maybe one of those 20-second songs can be my favorite song.
Exactly.
I'm
Yeah.
sick of City of Stars. So
I can't say, I'm sorry, but I can't say that I've seen La La Land.
that's so good.
That's probably not shocking to some of the listeners or
No.
to books. But I have not seen it. I do actually know what it is though. And I do know that it probably won some awards, if I'm not mistaken, when it was
won
out.
Best original score. It lost Best Picture.
Moonlight.
I'm trying to remember. Moonlight. Yes,
Moonlight.
it lost to
Yeah,
Moonlight. Yeah.
Okay.
Which I have not seen.
Yeah.
Moonlight. So
Wasn't it the one where like Jimmy Kimmel accidentally said La La Land for the winner, and then they had to take it
Yes.
back and do like Moonlight? It was one of those like Steve
Yeah.
Harvey
Yeah.
like
Steve
Yes.
Harvey, yeah.
there's something in the water because Steve Harvey. That was like near. If it wasn't the same year, it was close. That Steve Harvey did
Yeah.
the same thing.
Yep, I
with
do
the-
actually remember
yeah.
that now. Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, La La Land. There's a little shout out to maybe some of
Justin
Avery's
Hurwitz.
Desert Island movies too. So yeah,
Yeah, that's
Desert.
cool.
Justin Hurwitz, it says, La La Land original motion picture score. Looks like there's 30 songs,
Yeah.
tracks, I guess you could say.
But then like some of them
on
are
this
30 seconds long. So
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Some of them aren't super long, but 30 tracks. But that's kind of another loophole, I would think, because I would not have thought a movie soundtrack. So that's pretty good too.
I was between that, the other soundtrack. This was on I cut this one, but I almost did the Bohemian Rhapsody movie soundtrack. Because then you would have hit every Queen top song.
Yeah,
but
that's
that was
basically a greatest hits album.
Yeah, that felt like cheating.
Yeah, yeah.
I
That would have
break
been
the
pretty
rules.
smart, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been. Yeah, you're right.
All right, number 7.
Okay. For my number 7, I feel like there are some albums that you just fall in love with, and you can't sit and write paragraphs and bullet points about why you love them so much. You just have to recommend them to someone, and if they like it, they like it, and if they don't, then it's just not to their taste.
Stop being a friend.
Exactly. Yeah. One of my favorite albums of all time. One of my favorite bands of all time is a band called The Kinks. Have y'all ever heard of The Kinks before? They had
No.
Okay.
Why?
Well,
Of course not.
They had a couple albums that I could have put at this spot at number 7. I could have put Arthur on here. I could have put, and it kind of broke my heart, but I could have put I think the album name is The Kinks Are the Village Green Preservation Society. Long, outlandish name, but it's one of my favorite albums of all time, and it didn't make the cut. And shout out to Hot Fuzz, the movie, because that is the movie that introduced me to the Kinks. And then it's kind of weird. Like I watched Hot Fuzz, and I was introduced to Village Green, and then I watched a movie called The Darjeeling Limited by Wes Anderson, and that's where I found this next album that I have in my number 7 spot, and that is Lola versus the Power Man and the Money Go Round, Part 1 by the Kinks. And if there isn't
Nice.
a greater album name than that, then I don't know what it is. but yeah, so Lola
Epic.
versus the Power Man and the Money Go Round, Part 1. There isn't a Part 2. I've scoured the internet and
course there's
Spotify and Apple Music. There's not a Part 2 to my to one of my favorite albums of all time. But hey, at least we have Part 1. This album has so many great songs. Let me see. I'm going to pull it up real quick.
Has 43 songs.
40. Oh wait, that might be the deluxe version.
Oh,
let me.
I've got 13 on
Oh,
my
you're not
end.
going
Yeah,
super
yeah.
deluxe.
You're right. 13. I probably should do the super deluxe if I was a smart man.
That
But,
was
Would you like to upsize that?
Yeah. But it starts off with like a little, like The Contenders is the first track. You think it's going to be a nice little folk tune, and you're like, okay, maybe they did a nice little folk album for this for this album, and then all of a sudden halfway through, there's like a drum kick, a big electric guitar comes in, and then all of a sudden you're like, it's just rock and roll. And it's the coolest thing in a song, and then it goes straight into my favorite Kinks song, which is track 2. It's called Strangers. And Ray Davies is the main. He's the main vocals for the Kinks. He's the main songwriter. He's very prolific, but he actually didn't write Strangers. It's his brother, who's his bandmate, Dave Davies, wrote Strangers, and it just happens to be one of the greatest rock songs of all time. I think it's not it's just him and his guitar. There's a couple overdubs and stuff like that, but it's a heartbreaking song. It's a heartwarming song at the same time. And then it goes into let's see, Get Back in the Line is one of the greatest working man songs of all time. It's about a guy that works for a union, and kind of how the union has a hold on his life, and he decides, if he's gonna live or die, if he's gonna starve, or if he's gonna eat. And so that's a great album. And then Lola is probably one of the most well-known Kinks songs, but it's one of the funniest songs that I've listened to. It's also very innocent and sweet. But if you haven't listened to Lola, you'll listen to it and you'll know what I'm talking about when I say funny. And then one of the last songs is called Ape Man. And for whatever reason, whenever I listen to Ape Man, I think of Adam Sandler's character from like The Wedding Singer, or just Adam Sandler, any of the singing stuff that he does. For whatever reason, I can imagine him singing this song. I don't think he's ever sang it in a movie, but when I hear it, I just for some reason think of Adam Sandler. So that's fun too. But yeah, so for my number 7, I have Lola versus Power Man and the Money Go Round, Part 1 by the Kinks.
Yeah, November 27th, 1970. So you've got a 68 and a 70 on your list. We have an old soul at heart in here with us.
Look, there's a stretch from I'll spill the beans here. There's a stretch from 67, I think 67 to about 74. And you could include 75 and 66 if you want to, but I think it's the greatest stretch in music history. Bold claim here. Maybe outside of like Beethoven, it's the greatest stretch in music history. It hasn't been topped yet. I hope one day it is, but as of right now, it has not been topped in my opinion. So you might see some more that fall in those date ranges.
Yeah, Lola versus Power Man and the Money Ground Part 1 by the Kinks. A little surprise, in case you didn't know. Coming July 11th of this year, the Kinks will have a new album titled The Journey Part 3. So I'm assuming there's a Part 1 and a Part 2 of this journey.
You never know. There's not a Part 2 of
yeah,
Power
unless
Man.
it's like... Exactly. So it's supposed to have 28 songs on it. So... something to look forward to there for you. That goes into our NBA debate a little bit. The Kinks they got quite the longevity going there with 1970s all the way to the 2025. So
they're kind of like the Stones. They're just still making music. And shout out to the Stones while I'm at it, because Let It Bleed should have been in my honorable mentions. I didn't list it, but it's one of my favorite albums of all time, but it just doesn't make the top 10. So
yeah,
anyway.
Well, there you go. The Kinks. Lola versus Power Man and the Money Ground Part 1 by the Kinks, coming in at number 7.
And just because I'm going to say it, I hope it keeps happening, but the same list that I'm looking at, the Kinks are on there for Baroque pop. So,
look at that. I've discovered a new genre of music.
So I think
there we go, baby.
All of his albums so far are Baroque pop.
Yeah,
so
that's
Baroque.
I'm
discovering new things about myself. Baroque.
You're a super fan of Baroque pop.
Yeah.
Okay. My next album on the list is nostalgic for me. It was my mom's probably most played album in our car. So y'all are talking about like our generation not listening to albums. My family didn't listen to the radio at all. So we only, like my dad or mom would go buy a CD and then it would live in our CD player and we would play it until we got the next CD. So
yeah, right.
There's like a stretch, all the music that I heard from until I was 18, basically, I could hear a song and I could tell you what the next song on the album was going to be, because that was just how so I've listened to a lot of albums through, like a lot. So this is homage to one of those. It was Peter, Paul, and Mary by Peter, Paul, and Mary. So that album. It's so good. So many good songs on there. And they were also like huge Bob Dylan fans. So you get some Bob Dylan's written songs, but they're just going to be sung in a 3-part harmony. It's very like folksy sounding, very chill music, but it's like they were like in the middle of that same era where like folk was kind of like fight the power, we hate war, all that stuff. Anyways, lots of good songs on there. So that's my number. What did I say? Number 7? Is that what we just did?
Number 7, yes.
Number 7. Yeah. So that's my number
Peter,
7.
Paul, and Mary. That's the name of the artist and the album, correct?
Artist and the album, yes. It's tough because my favorite song
self-titled
by them is not on this album, but I had to go for bulk over. Like, there's more songs on this album that I like.
Yeah, it's one of those rare times where you choose quantity over quality.
Yes,
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says it was released in May of 1962. So there's another. Now, what do y'all think? Little sidebar here. Why? Why is music so good during this time period? Post-war, does that have something to do with it?
I think so. I once heard Ozzy Osbourne describe what, because he was kind of he hadn't made the scene yet. I don't think his band, Black Sabbath, I think was his band. He didn't come on the scene until like the late 70s or something like that, maybe early 80s. But he talks about as a kid when the Beatles and bands like the Beatles came into play in the mid 60s, late through the late 60s. It was like, and this is a quote from him, it was like going from a world that was in black and white to all of a sudden being in a world of color. You know what I mean? Like it was like going from black and white to Technicolor, and all of a sudden it was like this explosion of new possibilities. Artists inspiring each other and doing things that had never been done in recording studios. New people like some artists that I haven't mentioned yet that I don't really want to give away that are leading the kind of paving the way for future generations to come, and still are. I think there are some artists that are still paving the way for that recorded in the late 60s, early 60s, that are still inspiring artists to be their best versions of themselves today. So I think that is one reason, at least in my opinion.
Interesting.
Absolutely. Like I think like pop getting into its form that it got into in that era. A part of that was just technology, literally allowing these weird, funky new sounds.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think what you're saying, like the inspiration, based on this conversation, I bet I can tell where both of you fell on the NBA debate. This books is like, maybe not, but Book seems to be like these people laid the foundation.
Yep.
And so we have to honor them for what they started. Everything else is built on top of them.
Yeah, Books had a few oldies that I didn't have.
I did.
Yeah.
I did not have Bill Russell in his top 10, and that
Or
was
Larry Bird.
That was controversial.
Oh, Larry Bird not being in there. I'm fine with Bill Russell not being in there.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Coming, Avery.
Shout out to Avery.
This is your last time on the podcast.
Nope, you can come back. All right.
I won't make it an NBA debate.
Yeah, go back and listen to parts 1 and 2 of episode 6. You might
have to.
You might be surprised. Okay, number 6.
Number 6. This album is by one of the greatest, maybe the greatest, in my opinion, solo recording artists in the history of popular music, maybe the history of rock and roll. Maybe even folk. He's cross genre. He's all over the place. He's constantly reinventing himself. And that artist is Bob Dylan. And that album at my number 6 is Blood on the Tracks. If you've watched our top 10 movie list a couple episodes back, quite a bit of episodes back at this point.
Episode 2.
Episode 2, yeah, our sophomore outing. You will know that I really like the rain. I really enjoy rain. It's my favorite weather. If I had to pick a weather, I love the rain, and I'm going to be stuck on a desert island that is hopefully pretty tropical. So there's going to be a little bit of rain, and I need a good rainy day album. I could have picked a few. Jack Johnson, he has, I can't even remember the name of the album, but it's got a yellow cover, and I love that album. It's great for like a lazy Saturday morning, lazy Sunday morning or something like that. Or if it's raining outside, I'll put that on every once in a while. But Blood on the Tracks is, I think it's Bob Dylan in 1975, once again showing why he is the greatest, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, lyricists in the history of the American recording, machine, whatever you want to call it. In the history of recorded music, I think Bob Dylan is maybe the greatest lyricist of all time. In my opinion, he is the greatest lyricist of all time. This album kicks off with "Tangled Up in Blue." First of all, this album is kind of, I mean, I don't know if Bob's ever come out and said it, because he's kind of elusive when it comes to the media. He's very contrarian. But a lot of people think that this is based on his divorce, which kind of happened shortly before this was released, I think. And so this album takes you through. I mean, it does. The songs take you through a man going through a very, very, very bad breakup. Um, you know, and it's heartbreaking to listen to. It "Tangled Up in Blue" is a great song. It kind of walks you through the beginnings and the ends of a relationship. "Simple Twist of Fate." I mean, "You're a Big Girl Now," "Idiot Wind." I love every single one of these songs, and that's why it's on my list. But "You're Gonna Make Me Lonesome When You Go," "Meet Me in the Morning," "Lily, Rosemary, and the Jack of Hearts." Let's see here, and maybe my favorite song on the album, "Shelter from the Storm." Again, I mean, it's speaking for itself when it comes to my favorite rainy day album, "Shelter from the Storm," and then the last track on it is "Buckets of Rain." So it's speaking to my tastes. It's a great moody album for if you want to just have a depressing night. I don't think there's anything wrong with that every once in a while. If you want to throw on some blues, and feel the blues with your favorite artist, I think that what better way to do that than listening to music. And this is the album that I go back to when I'm in that mood. So I have "Blood on the Tracks" by Bob Dylan for my number 6.
Yeah, Bob Dylan. That's a classic artist. Another 70s. January 20th, 1975, is when that came out. It has 10 songs on it. The Jack Johnson album, which I consider myself quite the Jack Johnson fan. Just FYI, that might be a shock to some of you, but "In Between Dreams," I believe, is the album you're thinking of. It contains "Banana Pancakes," which is
Yes.
one of his major ones. It contains "Sitting, Waiting, Wishing," which is another one of his kind of major ones. "Better Together." So I think that helps me because I'm a Jack Johnson guy. That kind of helps me, I guess, correlate what this
Now,
album is, because
yeah,
that does make a lot of sense. Like a rainy day album, that's exactly what that Jack Johnson album is. So
and
that's
I will
pretty good.
say, I'll put the Jack Johnson album on if I'm in a happy rainy day. This is a sad rainy day. It's "Blood on the Tracks," and you can tell by just the title alone, "Blood on the Tracks." Is it's a sad rainy day album, but it like I said earlier about whatever album I was listening to, it breaks your heart in a good way, and so that's why I keep coming back to it.
Yeah, there you go. "Blood on the Tracks" by Bob Dylan, coming in at number 6, I believe. Is that what we're
Yep,
on? Number
that's right.
6, for books.
All right, my number 6. This is a Lance Hall recommendation to me from a
Shout
couple
out.
years ago. Shout out Lance Hall. But it's okay. It's called "Songs You Maybe Didn't Know I Wrote and Some That You Probably Did." It's by Benjamin Williams Hastings. So he was a singer. Oh gosh, now I'm gonna mess this up. Who he was a singer for? I think he was a singer for Hillsong Worship. Uh,
Okay.
who was? I now have to look it up. Yes, okay, he was a singer for Hillsong. But if you look up this album, it's pretty much every like top worship song from the past decade. He wrote it.
Yeah,
Uh,
I just looked it up, and
yeah,
you're exactly right.
uh, and I want to like get on it because I can. It's Agenda, Remembrance, Take You at Your Word, Oh Praise the Name, Gratitude, Highlands, uh, So Will I, From the Inside Out. Anyways, just a whole bunch of songs. I think if I'm on a desert island, I'm gonna need some worship every once in a while. I'm doing church by myself. Uh, I thought this is my way to get some worship in. So, and it's a variety of songs that have played across the radio for a long time, so I'll know them all. This is once again, I think I'm discovering I'm just a loophole guy. So
Hey,
this
there's
is another-
once again,
Man, Avery's
absolutely
here to
nothing
win.
wrong with that.
That's what
I
he's
am
here
here.
for.
I'm here to win Desert Island.
Let me tell you, Avery, you're winning right now. Just
That's all
FYI.
I needed to hear. That's all I needed to hear was that I was winning.
Yeah, these are like if you listen to Christian music like you said in the past decade, you've probably heard most, if not all, of these songs. This is very impressive.
Kind of ridiculous when you start that he was behind so many of these songs. It's crazy. The best song on the list on this album is "Take You at Your Word." As for his version, because it's a live album, so it's him with a huge live orchestra and like a bunch of background singers singing along. And so, anyways, it's pretty awesome. It's worth a listen.
Yeah, I'm 100%
Sounds pretty
gonna have to
Baroque,
go back.
if you ask me.
Yep.
That live orchestra.
It's that Baroque. Yeah, we're all in that genre, I guess.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to go back and look at these for sure.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, that looks good. And going back, like, you're gonna need a little Jesus on this desert island. We
absolutely.
both brought the Bible. We did our top 5 books.
We did.
My number 1 was the Bible. Books was number 2, but I did bring
If
the
Jesus
Bible.
is in your heart, you can also bring Shakespeare as your number one. So really,
Yeah,
we both
the Holy
win.
Spirit lives inside all of
over
us. In all fairness, he put the King James Bible, so he was going more literature than he was, hope and morale.
Right.
So,
yes.
not me though. I'm Team Jesus all the way.
Hey,
Books is Team Jesus number 2.
let's just hope Jesus doesn't listen to this podcast, Books. That's all I'm saying.
He's on the list.
Yeah, maybe he'll come back before this episode airs, and we'll just be all jolly.
Please.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. That might be my favorite one so far, or my most anticipated one to go look at so far, because that excites me a little bit, seeing all those songs. So that's a good one. All right, number 5.
All right. Well, speaking of Jesus coming back, that's a great segue to my next album, because if there's one, I think when John was writing the Book of Revelations, this album was just blaring in the background, and that album is the Zeppelin 4 by Led Zeppelin.
That is not historically accurate at all.
Let me tell you something. This album is Zeppelin 4 by Led Zeppelin. This is heavy, it's epic, it's mythic, and if I had to choose one word, if I had to get rid of all those and just choose one word to describe it, it's elemental. And what I mean by that is when you listen to this album for the first time, if you've never listened to this album before, I envy you so much, because I wish I could listen to it in its completion for the first time again. Because when you first listen to this album, it's like discovering fire or discovering thunder. It's the great. I mean, if I had to pick one rock album, to choose for all time, to pass down through the ages, it would be Led Zeppelin 4. Obviously, Stairway to Heaven. It gets all the headlines. That's the one, that's everyone's first song to learn on a guitar is Stairway to Heaven. It's kind of become memed at this point to death. But When the Levee Breaks, which is the closing track on this album, When the Levee Breaks, is this album's sermon, or what have you. It's the sound of the apocalypse, and this is the song, I'm convinced, that was playing when John was writing the Book of Revelations. It sounds huge. It sounds dangerous. And it's When the Levee Breaks. The only thing I can take away from When the Levee Breaks is that Led Zeppelin actually didn't write the lyrics. It is a cover of I believe it's an old blues song. I've never actually heard the original version, so I need to go check that out. But I think it's an old blues song. But like from the 20s, maybe 20s or 30s. But When the Levee Breaks, the Led Zeppelin makes it their own, and it's the best sounding drums. I mean, drums kind of, they kind of lay the foundation for a lot of songs, but these drums stick out so much because of the way they sound. I don't know how they did it, but it echoes, like it feels like when you listen to it with headphones, it feels like you're in a stadium and the drummer's just banging the drums as hard as he can. And that's just one track on this album. There's so many other great songs. It kicks off with Black Dog, which is one of the, it's a great rock song. It goes right into a song called Rock and Roll, which I'm sure both of y'all, even Ty, have heard plenty of songs on this album. You might not know that's what they're called, but I guarantee you've at least heard Black Dog and Stairway to Heaven. Misty Mountain Hop is also a great song. The Battle of Evermore is like this crazy mythic battle happening, and you feel like you're there, watching it from the peak of a mountain. It's crazy. And then there's this little tiny track called Going to California. It's the penultimate track. It's the second to last one, and it's like it's a weird place to put it. It's kind of sticks out like a sore thumb on this album, but it's such a nice breath after all this crazy rock and roll. Going to California is such a nice little acoustic breath of fresh air, and then all of a sudden it breaks into When the Levee Breaks, which is, I think, the greatest rock song of all time. Bar maybe save maybe one song that I have higher on this list, but this is an album that I absolutely love. If I'm going to the gym, first of all, it's 43 minutes, so if I'm going to the gym to get a quick workout in, I will play this song and blare it in my headphones and try not to bang my head while I'm in front of a bunch of people. But yeah, so at my number 5, I have the Zeppelin. Let me make sure I get that title right. Led Zeppelin 4 by Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, the original. Just going into some of the things you said, the trump shall resound, the Lord shall descend, and I guess When the Levee Breaks will play as well. When the fire is engulfing us.
I think so. Go listen to it, and you'll know what I'm thinking.
Yeah. But you are correct. According to ChatGPT, the original song was in 1929, written by Memphis Minnie and Kansas Joe McCoy. They wrote about the devastation caused by the 1927 Mississippi River flood, one of the deadliest and most destructive in U.S. history. So it kind of goes into that, apocalyptic type thought process, I guess, because it was at that time kind of that feeling, I guess, with a lot of people dying and destruction happening. So yes, I have heard Black Dog, and yes, I have heard Stairway to Heaven. So we're getting into music now. We're getting a little deeper into our top 10s. I'm starting to recognize some of the albums and songs y'all are talking about. I also recognize the album cover for this, or the album
super cool
cover art. That's something I had seen before too. So I'm not as uncultured as you think I am.
Okay, books. Where do you stand on? There's supposedly some subliminal like evil messaging if you play Stairway to Heaven backwards. Have you heard
Is that
this?
so? I have not heard the conspiracy theories about
There's all
Stairway
sorts
to
of
Heaven.
conspiracy theories. Yeah, if you play
Okay.
like a section of it backwards, there's supposed to be like this voice in it that like says something weird. You'll have
That's
to look
creepy.
it up.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think this album is one that's very like it's not. I mean, Stairway to Heaven sounds like a song that would be very uplifting.
Yeah,
I
It's
don't know
not
that this
a faith-based
not-
album.
No,
No,
it is
it's
not
not
faith-based. So despite my claims about When the Levee Breaks, this album is not faith-based. But yeah, that would not surprise me. I should check into those conspiracy. I think we might just need to have a conspiracy theory episode
Ooh,
of the
there you go.
podcast.
Yeah,
Everyone
it's on the
brings
list.
a conspiracy theory.
Yep.
Hey, and the other thing I was going to ask related to Led
Yes.
Zeppelin, do you like Greta Van Fleet? Because people who love Led Zeppelin have a very strong opinion one way or the other about Greta. I love it.
So I think that I'm glad that they're making the music that they're making, because no one makes that kind of music anymore. And so it's nice to hear someone that was clearly inspired by Led Zeppelin. You know what I mean? I mean, they might as well be a cover band. But
Hey.
I won't disparage the good name of Greta Van Fleet. I have listened to their music, and I do enjoy some of their songs. I mean, I don't think they're Led Zeppelin, but I also don't think they're crappy music. So I do enjoy their songs. Yes.
I was just curious.
I won't be a gatekeeper. I won't be an elitist. I won't be an elitist rock fan. I try not to be I try not to be pretentious whenever I make these lists as much as I can.
You pick Shakespeare to go on your desert island. You've already crossed over that.
That's it.
It's too late.
The line has been crossed. You're right.
You'd rather have Shakespeare than Jesus.
Like I said, I can always pray, but where am I going to read Shakespeare?
Yeah,
True.
Sure.
I guess.
I'm not going to agree with it, but what?
Yeah, it is.
All right.
Like we keep telling Avery, it's your desert island.
Hey, it's your desert island. All right, number 5 for me. This is another movie soundtrack, but it's not actually a movie soundtrack. Like, you could listen to this and never know that it was a movie soundtrack. It's Eddie Vedder, not with Pearl Jam, just singing by himself with a guitar. It's the Into the Wild soundtrack. Have y'all seen that movie, Into the Wild? It's another movie I'll need to see.
It's not ringing a bell. Let me look up some stuff.
Ty, this is not in the same vein as La La Land. I think you would actually like this movie. So this is one you should go watch. This is definitely homework.
Okay.
But Eddie Vedder, it's about basically this kid graduates college, cuts up his social security card, and then hitchhikes to Alaska. That's the premise of the movie. So the movie is very and it's based on a true story. So
nice. I do like those.
Yes. So, and it's very nature-y and lots of really pretty scenery. So this is an outdoorsy kind of album. I don't know if y'all listen to much Eddie Vedder, but I wanted something that had his voice singing something for me if I'm going to be on a desert island.
I know your dad is a huge Pearl Jam fan. Am I right about that?
He is a huge Pearl Jam. So if Peter, Paul, and Mary was my mom's homage album, this would be my dad's version of that because he loves some Eddie Vedder.
Gotcha.
It's a good album. It's also pretty. It's nostalgic feeling. It's lots of scenery of him hiking through along a road, but in a desolate area, or seeing all this beautiful scenery, and then you've got this soundtrack playing in the background. And Eddie Vedder just wrote this whole album for the movie. He just got commissioned to write an album for the movie, lyrics and everything. So it's very good. The music alone is good. It's worth watching the movie, but the movie itself is also pretty good. Anyway, so that would be my number 5. If I want to get hyped up, feel like I'm striking out on my own on my desert island. If I maybe need to go explore the other side, this is the album that I'm going to put on while I go do it. So
there you go. Go meet the others on the other side of the island.
The others.
Right. Exactly right.
Yeah. Little shout out to Lost there.
I figured it was a Lost reference. I've never watched it. So
yeah.
Too many seasons.
You're not missing much. Yeah. Hey, see, that's what I said. When we talked about our TV shows, I said it's not my top 5 because it had too many seasons and a weird ending. So, Eddie Vedder. So would you put this album kind of with the Bob Dylan album that Books was kind of talking about, the rainy day, outdoorsy?
I have another album that I'm probably going to use as my rainy day album. That's farther up the list. This is more just getting in the spirit of, I'm getting a sunburn. If I put this album on, I'm at least a little less mad I'm getting a sunburn.
Okay. All right. I won't make you spoil your later albums then. All right. Number 4. We're getting into our Mount Rushmore here.
Here we go. I'm excited. My number 4, like I said earlier, Bob Dylan is one of my favorite artists of all time. This list is proving him to be maybe on the top. He's at least in my Mount Rushmore. And the album that I have at number 4 is Highway 61 Revisited. I think this is Bob's greatest album. It's a landmark rock album, you know what I mean? But I think if I had to choose Bob's greatest album, and I use that word specifically, but his greatest album is Highway 61 Revisited. And I love what this album. And have either of you seen A Complete Unknown? Cool. Okay,
yes,
cool.
so
Avery's seen it. Yes, I love that movie, and so you get a glimpse into the creation of this album, kind of, and the
Yeah.
fallout of this album.
Mhm.
But I absolutely love what this album represents. And what that is kind of Bob breaking the chains and flipping the bird to the folkies that are trying to keep him down, right? That are trying to keep him in his lane, keep him as the face of folk music in the mid '60s, and he doesn't, Bob, like I said earlier when I was talking about Blood on the Tracks, he's constantly reinventing himself. A great comparison that I like to talk about with Bob is actually with George Lucas, creator of Star Wars.
Who?
And exactly.
Yeah.
The reason
What movies?
the reason I like to make that comp is because when George made the original trilogy, there was a 20-year gap where all of the fans of the original trilogy that were kids were growing up imagining what the prequels looked like for themselves and you know what I mean, and so they had 20 years to think about it, and then all of a sudden in 1990 whatever, 99 or 96 or 90, yeah, whatever, George comes out with the prequel trilogy, and it's absolutely nothing like anyone could have imagined. Only George could have made those movies, for better or worse. And and George wasn't making movies for the kids that were still kids, excuse me, the kids that grew up with the original trilogy. He was making Star Wars movies for a whole new generation of fans to fall in love with Star Wars. I was part of the generation that fell in love with the prequels. And I think that Bob Dylan is constantly, throughout the '60s, the '70s, the '80s, he's gone through so many different eras. He in right when, like I said earlier, right when folk music was kind of reaching the public, it was finally getting to a spot where it was becoming really popular, and Bob was the face of that. And then what does he do? All of a sudden, he comes out with a rock album, a true rock and roll classic. And it opens as soon as the album opens with "Like a Rolling Stone." From that first kick, from the first guitar strum, oh shoot, he's making a rock and roll album. This isn't the Bob that we've been listening to for 5 years. This is something completely different. And even though that music is completely different, he maintains the lyricism that he's so well known for. He maintains those poetic lyrics, but he puts them into rock music, and that's something that hadn't that to my knowledge, at least I hadn't listened to that music, or I haven't dug into anything like Bob Dylan was doing in 1965 yet. I think he set the precedent for what rock could be going forward. It could be something that wasn't just for the kids. It was something that adults could listen to and enjoy. And that's why I'm still open to the hip hop rap genre, because even though it's not really my forte, and it doesn't crack my top 10, I feel like there's stuff being made these days that people are going to talk about 100 years from now and say this guy was paving the way for music that adults could enjoy. And I just haven't found that person yet. Um, but the opener, like I said, "Like a Rolling Stone," one of maybe the most classic rock song of all time. I don't think, and maybe it's the best. I would put "When the Levee Breaks" as the best, but two very different sounds. And then it opens with that, and it closes with "Desolation Row." And "Desolation Row" might be my favorite Bob Dylan song. "Desolation Row," it's a mark of a good song when, as soon as it ends, you click replay. I think that's a mark of a good song. I think it's the mark of a great song is, as soon as it ends, you hit replay, and that song also happens to be 11 minutes long. And so when you can listen to a song that's 11 minutes long on repeat, or at least I can with "Desolation Row," I think that's the mark of a great song. And also, "Desolation Row" is it's like a fantastical fever dream of with the cast of crazy characters. I'm just gonna list a few because I did make a list because I was very interested about this song. But it has Cinderella, it has Romeo, Cain and Abel. This is all one song. The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Einstein disguised as Robin Hood, somebody named Dr. Filth and his nurse, Ophelia, Noah, the Phantom of the Opera, Casanova, Neptune, the Passengers of the Titanic, Ezra Pound, T.S. Eliot. It goes on and on and on. I won't list every single one of them, but this is the craziest fever dream of a song I've ever heard in my life. And still, there's something about it that always feels like you're standing on the ground. It doesn't feel like you're off in Neverland with Bob, and it's just a stream of consciousness. There is something that grounds you in it. I won't try to dissect it and explain it to you because I could never do that with most of Bob's songs. I'm just not that smart. But I love them so much, and I love this album, and I think it's, like I said, I think it's his greatest album. I come back to it all the time. I was doing my flower bed this past weekend, and I had this specific song on repeat, which is kind of crazy, but that's what I did. And so for my number 4, I have Highway 61 Revisited by Bob Dylan.
Yeah, another Bob Dylan up there for books. So
what can I say?
Yep, no big deal. That tells you a little bit about who Books is and what he thinks. All right, number 4, Avery.
Feels controversial to go double same artist on a desert island. You're gonna get a lot of Bob.
He's that big of a fan.
You know, I called a close relative of mine to speak to them about this list because I was really stressing. It's by far the hardest list I've had to make on this podcast, and I was telling them, hey, I got a couple Bob Dylan albums on this record, and I mean on this list, and it feels like I just need to branch out more in music, but for whatever reason, I like the guy so much.
Well, and he changes his sound so much that it's like you have 2 different artists.
And that's the thing. That's what I love about him so much is, yeah, like exactly like you said, he's constantly reinventing himself. And so I have right now, like Blood on the Tracks and Highway 61 are 2 completely different sides of Bob. And so you're right. It does feel like 2 different artists to me because the albums are not very comparable. They're completely different. And that's what I love about him. So, yes.
That's awesome. Well, I'm going to have to come over to your island. I didn't end up with any Bob Dylan. I was going to do the freewheeling Bob Dylan was on my honorable mentions. That has a lot of his oldies, like more the folk side that I like. I probably would have been one of the people in A Complete Unknown throwing a can at him whenever when he swapped genres. But I actually love his rock stuff, but I think I like his folk stuff a little bit more.
That's fair.
Number 4 for me. This is my rainy day album. It's Still All Right by Nathaniel Rateliff. I don't know if y'all listen to much Nathaniel Rateliff. He is pretty awesome. His band name is the best. He's Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats, and they've been touring together for like forever. But he released this solo album. One of his best friends died, and so he wrote this album as like a memorial to like losing his friend, and lots of good acoustic songs on it. There's also he did a live concert at Red Rocks during the pandemic, but so the album cover is interesting. He had already booked this concert, but have y'all ever been to Red Rocks or seen Red Rocks in Colorado before?
I've never been, but it is on the list to go. Yes, for sure.
It's worth it. It's pretty sweet. But they're on there, like the album cover of this live performance of this album. Which is the version that I like, the live performance at Red Rocks Amphitheater. But he does this whole album there, and the picture is just of all the rows of seats, but they're empty. So he did this whole album to an empty stadium, which is kind of cool. Very good album. It's worth a listen. And it has some songs on there that get a little more upbeat. So if you need something that's a little more crazy, but lots of chill songs. Anyways, and he's one of my top artists. One of my philosophies was I was like, I need something from my top favorite artists, even if it's maybe like conflicting genres. So I have a couple that are the same genre, but I was like, I had to get Nathaniel Rateliff on there.
Yeah, I actually do know who Nathaniel Rateliff is. So I was excited to kind of hear that. I actually kind of forgot about him.
Yeah.
I have, like I told you earlier, I'll download an album and then keep all the songs in the album and then just skip the ones I don't like instead of deleting them.
Yes.
And so I have good songs that get lost in the shuffle. So I need to kind of go back to him. That was a good one.
Yeah, he's great.
I have Steele to thank for introducing me to Nathaniel Rateliff, and I'm sure Mia introduced it to him, and then you introduced it to Mia. So really, I have you to thank, Avery.
Yeah, thank you, Avery.
Well, it's from my dad. My dad. It's a lot of our music tastes we've inherited from our parents. So yeah, you can thank Shannon for that one.
Yeah,
appreciate it, Shannon.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, and then there were three.
My number 3 album is an album that means a lot to me. This is probably the one that means the most personally to me. My dad used to play it a lot, just on car rides to school and stuff like that. And that album is At Folsom Prison by Johnny Cash. This is such a cool album. It's a live album, and so Johnny's literally at a prison playing for a crowd of prisoners, and that's probably the coolest thing ever. But yeah, so my dad used to play this all the time. Folsom Prison Blues I'm pretty sure it's my dad's favorite song. In fact, I'm fairly certain it's my dad's favorite song. And so we had that on repeat all the time. And it's pretty high up there for myself and my brother as well, as far as favorite songs go. And this album will definitely always have a special place in my heart because of just that song alone. This album is like I said, he's playing in front of a bunch of prisoners. You really get an idea of Johnny's personality because it doesn't cut out the clips in between. There's a little bit of editing I think done, but it really doesn't cut out the clips in between where he's talking to the prisoners, just talking like Johnny does, where he's talking to I think June or maybe some other members of his band, and you can tell how funny he is. He's kind of doing a little bit of stand-up comedy. He's making the crowd laugh. He's just such a great showman, and it captures that showmanship and that kind of outlaw persona that he had. Let's see here, but it does make you feel like you're in the crowd with the prisoners, cheering along, and that's a cool feeling. And also what a beautiful thing for Johnny to give to these guys who I'm sure are facing long sentences, and might be full of regret. And so this is a chance for them for 45 minutes to just not feel like prisoners anymore, to feel like they're at a concert. And I think that's a cool thing. For an artist to do. And so for my number 3, I have At Folsom Prison by Johnny Cash.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, y'all might be able to correct me on this, but I think Johnny Cash is someone who found the Lord late in his life. Is that true?
Yep. You can kind of see his last couple albums. He's got like that My Mother's Hymn Book and
yes, yeah, exactly.
That's kind of why I thought that, and I thought I had heard that before too. So pretty cool for Johnny Cash to do that, like you said, for those prisoners.
And if you watch A Complete Unknown, you can see like young Johnny Cash is pretty prominent in that movie, and he's like Wild Child in it. It's pretty good depiction of young Johnny Cash in there.
And also the same guy that directed A Complete Unknown directed Walk the Line, which is the Johnny Cash biopic. So that's a pretty cool little connection there.
Is it biopic or biopic? I never in my head I want to say biopic.
Yeah,
biopic,
I think it's fine. Baroque, I think is how you pronounce it. All right, Avery, what do you got?
Number 3. This one was already mentioned as being cut by books, but I think it deserves to be in there. Cleopatra by the Lumineers. Such a good album. Every song goes together. Every song's an absolute bang. Like, there's not a bad song on this album. Also, I realized, like, when I looked at my list, my top 3 albums are probably just the 3 albums that, by the end of my life and currently, I've listened to more than any other album ever. So
makes sense.
This album's on there. It's on my top 3 for sure. Every song's good. It's the last album they released before their violinist left the band. So if you listen to like their past 2 albums. What books was it? 3 was the concept album. It was like a story of like a generational kind of chain of abuse. It was a pretty depressing album, but that album gets really like it's very raw sounding. Like it's not overproduced, and there's not a lot of
Right.
harmonies in it. It's just him and a guitar, and he's definitely gone more like the like just guy on a bar stool singing like very rough sounding voice, like stretching his range, and it's still good. But the Cleopatra album is like polished. It's got more instruments in it. It's got some background singing. So good. So Lumineers top 3. I've seen Lumineers in concert. Actually, I've seen Nathaniel Rateliff in concert too. I forgot to say that one. But so, anyways, they make the list, but
Yeah.
they're awesome.
You can't go wrong with the Lumineers.
No, they're so good.
Yeah, I like that, and I also kind of like that kind of music, that folklore type music. So yeah, I like it.
I love it too. That's why it was an honorable mention. Love Cleopatra, and I love their self-titled album as well.
Yeah,
so.
they're both good. Yeah, it's hard to pick.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. For my number 2 runner-up, y'all are gonna kick me off the show, but but it's another Bob Dylan album.
Whoa,
Oh my gosh.
this is crazy. This is madness.
I know this is madness, but hey, my island. You can just call it Bob Dylan Island,
Yeah.
I guess. But listen, Bob gets a lot of criticism from, I think, especially our generation and generations lower than us, younger than us, or at least some kind of. He gets a lot of criticism, or at least a hesitancy to give his music a chance. First of all, just because of when it was made, but also due to like a notion that listening to him is maybe, I don't know, listening to Bob is some kind of, maybe pretentious, or that he prioritizes lyricism over melody. And that might certainly be true for some eras of Bob, but that's not the whole story. Like I said, this album that I have at number 2 is a completely different side of Bob than the other 2 albums that I have on this list. It's a country album. It's a straight up just regular country album. And that album is Nashville Skyline by Bob Dylan. This is my favorite country album of all time. It's crazy that Bob Dylan made my favorite country album of all time, but that's just what happened. In fact, there's one album. If there's one album that defines easy listening for me, in its greatest form, it's Nashville Skyline. This came out in 1969, when rock and pop were kind of reaching new heights that had never been reached before. You know what I mean? A lot of great bands at the time were in their primes, and all of a sudden, Bob could have been right there along with everybody else, but what does he do? He makes a easygoing country record, which is so Bob. It's so contrarian, and that's part of the reason why I love him so much. It's only 27 minutes long. I don't know how many songs are on it. Let me check it out real quick.
10.
10 songs on it. The opening track features none other than Johnny Cash. It's a cover of Bob Dylan covering himself basically, but it's a new recording of "Girl from the North Country," and Johnny Cash is in it, and it's one of my favorite songs of all time. Let's see here. It's great for just chilling outside. Whenever I'm just chilling outside, playing fetch with the dog, maybe smoking a cigar or something. But basically I'm always listening to this album in its entirety every time I play it. I usually have time to listen to something for 27 minutes. I usually try to make the time if I'm sitting outside playing fetch, whatever it is.
You're gonna have time
I can
on a desert island.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have plenty of time on a desert island, and I can listen to this album a million times and never get sick of it. I listen to it all the time on my commute to work. And it's my favorite comfort album. Like we talked about with the TV show, Psych is my favorite comfort show. I can always listen to this album and be transported to a happy place. You know what I mean? And I just, because I have Bob so many times on this list, I have a lot of fans. I have a lot of fans. Yada yada. I mean, we're getting big. I have a lot of family members that don't like Bob Dylan for one reason or another. A lot of friends as well. And I would like to challenge all of our listeners who aren't fans of Bob Dylan to just give him 27 minutes of your time and listen to Nashville Skyline all the way through. Like I said, just 27 minutes is all I ask. If you can find anything on this album that strikes a chord, if you can't find anything on this album that strikes a chord, that's fine. But I'll bet for those of you who at least like country music, which I'm assuming our listeners, basically everyone, I think you can find something on this album that'll reshape how you view Bob as an artist. Or at least that was certainly my experience. This was kind of my gateway into Bob Dylan. It's the first album that I really fell in love with of his, and it remains my favorite of his albums. Even though it's not lyrically crazy like all the rest of them. It's very simple. The lyrics are very simple. Like I said, it's a simple country album, and that's why I love it so much. So my number 2, Nashville Skyline by Bob Dylan.
Another Bob for books. He told us he was going to have a couple, and then he gave another one. So, in all fairness, it is a different. I guess it's the same artist, but a different genre. So I guess I'll let it slide.
Thanks. Your island.
Yeah.
Some trivia for Bob Dylan. You were saying how contrarian he is. No, not trivia. Sorry. Fun fact. He just got Twitter. He got Twitter last year. He decided to join Twitter at 84. just for the heck of it.
It's not worth it, buddy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, not worth it.
X. He joined X.
Yeah.
Maybe he just didn't like Twitter.
Also, yeah, go ahead, sorry.
No, what were you going to say? Also what?
I was going to say, if you haven't seen the Complete Unknown movie, I thought that fact was hilarious, where at the very end of the movie, it says that Bob Dylan is the only recording artist to ever win a Nobel Prize for Literature, and then it says he did not attend the ceremony. which is just hilarious.
Yeah. He's one of a kind. It's hilarious. That's awesome. All right. My number 2. This is another sleeper album here. Well, maybe not. So the band is Kaleo, or maybe it's Kaleo. I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce it. It's a rock band, Kaleo. The album is A/B, and it's what you were saying about your workout album. This is my workout album, and it has been my workout album for the past since it came out in like 2016. Yeah. And it's got a bunch of good songs on it. They're all pretty much just like rock songs the whole way through, just like pretty classic rock. But he's got a pretty deep voice. His voice, it's like I don't know if Ty, you listen to Red Clay Strays at all? You're a country guy.
Yes.
It's like if the lead singer of Red Clay Strays was a rock singer. Like like more like a deeper voice. But
yep.
He's pretty awesome. But he's from like Norway or so, or Iceland or something like that.
Yep. It says they're Icelandic quartet.
Icelandic, yeah. So but he sounds country. Like he's like something about his accent. Something about his accent from Iceland sounds very like country twang a little bit. So a couple of songs almost it seems like he's got like a country accent, but he's actually from Iceland. And then he's got one song on there that he sings in Icelandic, and it's the best song on the album, probably. A very chill song, and you can't sing along to a single word of it because it's in another language that's impossible to pronounce. But so good. So I'm on a desert island. I got a whole lifetime to practice pronouncing the words to that song. So, anyways,
there you go.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, I like me some Red Clay Strays. Wondering why, and just want to be loved, and so I'm definitely gonna have to check them out.
Now this is a rock album; it's not country, but it's like
but the voice behind
the voice.
Yes,
Yes,
correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you sold me. I just downloaded it, so I'm gonna have to check that out later.
There you
Great.
go. All right, we got about 7 minutes to talk
I'll
about
be
your
as
number one.
fast as possible. So my number one is Abbey Road by the Beatles. I almost had the White Album in this spot because it's like a great buffet of music. There's so much variety, so much great food, but it's just too much. I appreciate, like I said, an album that is cohesive. Maybe White Album is a smart choice on a desert island if I'm going to be stuck there for forever. But Abbey Road is a perfectly curated 4-course meal. There's nothing about this album that I don't like. Side A is just classic after classic after classic. It has Come Together, which is John Lennon's last great Beatles song. It's George Harrison at his best. It has Something, which I think is his magnum opus, one of the greatest love songs ever written. It's got Paul's goofy granny music, which I am such a big fan of, or at least that's how John Lennon described it. It was goofy granny music. But Maxwell's Silver Hammer is a good time. Octopus's Garden is my favorite Ringo jam. And then it goes into Side B. And Side B, I think, is the greatest achievement in pop music history. It's the Abbey Road medley, rock music, whatever you want to call it. It's 8 tracks of short songs and song fragments, and they're all stitched together and blended so smoothly, so perfectly that it just sounds like one epic 16-minute long track. And you know, when I die at my funeral, just go ahead and tell my wife to play Abbey Road and just start it at Golden Slumbers and just let it ride all the way through to the end, because it's so great. I love it so much. It's my favorite album of all time. My number one, Abbey Road by the Beatles.
Abbey Road and When the Levee Breaks. Noted.
Yeah.
For Books' funeral.
Yes, both of those, please.
Sounds like the best funeral ever.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a
All
sitting
right,
down.
the moment we've all been waiting for.
And this would be a no-brainer. My number one is a no-brainer to anyone in my family. Like, no one's going to be shocked by this, because this would be probably a lot. This album would make a lot of our top 10s. But it's I Am Lovin' You by the Avett Brothers. If y'all listen to the Avett Brothers at all, this is the album you have to choose. You can't take any other album of theirs except maybe True Sadness. That would be the only other option. But this album, to me, is probably the one that is more captures why they got to where they are and why you would love the Avett Brothers. You're going to love this album. Lots of good songs on there. Avett Brothers are, in my opinion, up there with Bob Dylan as lyricists. Like, I know that would be like a hot take to someone who loves. They're not going to be as recognized as Bob Dylan, but I think they capture, especially on this album, a lot of good writing. It's romantic, but it's also got some good rainy day songs, some good upbeat songs. It's a lot of fun. So top album for sure for me. Definitely like what you said about Led Zeppelin. If I could go and listen to this album for the first time again, I would, because at this point I've listened to it so much that it's not quite the same, because I've almost over listened to it, but it's still like
just burnt it out. Yeah, no, I
yes, yeah, just burn it out. But not to the point. I'm still not tired of it, which is
right.
A good sign of a good album. I've also picked these are a bunch of every song on the album is a song that is fun to play on guitar. So that'd be another draw for me, is like being able to listen to songs, because I'm on desert island, probably don't have a guitar. This is the closest I can get to it, would be remembering songs I used to play on guitar before I was stranded. I think I role played into this desert island thing a little bit more than the rest of you.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
It makes it more fun.
You gave us some more thoughts into it, because we put zero thought into what this desert island is like. We're just adding more things. It's sounding to sound more like my house than anything. The movies I'm bringing. We even talked about what foods would we bring to this desert island. We're gonna have to do that at some point. It's more like a vacation spot. But all right. Well, we are about to reach our 2-hour limit, which is for the 8th time now. I think the whole reason we do this podcast is so that we can yada yada a little bit. We can talk. We can stay in touch with old friends. And stay connected, learn new things. I will definitely be tuning in to probably every single one of those albums that you guys talked about, because I'm just not a music guy. I wasn't raised around that kind of music, and we did listen to the radio. We didn't have CDs and things like that playing in the car very often. So I'm actually pretty excited, because I've always wanted to be tuned in to music. I've always thought when I do find a good song, it's more personal than anything else. I think music is. You can't find a more personal TV show or a more personal book or a more personal movie. I think music is more personal than any other form of art. And so I'm excited to maybe find some more music for me to listen to in the future. So Avery, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. It was a lot of fun. I'll come back. Yeah. This is last.
Yeah, you can definitely come back. You might have to be our what did we talk about? Conspiracy theories. You might have to have him back for the conspiracy theory, maybe.
Yeah, he's already started it off. Yeah, with the Led Zeppelin.
I'm already started. It's a teaser.
We'll have to dive into that one. We'll shout you out if you're not back on. So, thanks again. If you're listening, make sure you like and subscribe. If you're watching, same thing. If you're on Spotify, make sure you drop a comment. This has been Yada Yada episode 8. We'll see you next time.